All right. Good evening, everyone. How's it going? You're on with Big J, and
Amen.
yeah, we're here. Go ahead and start us off, D.
All right. Well, first I want to say thanks to everybody who's been subscribing. Thanks to everybody who's been smashing those like buttons. Continue to do that as you come in and join in the conversation, and we appreciate every one of you. Um, what we want to talk about today is uh, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. Um, because they're saying that well, you call him Becky with the good hair, Matt Barnes. They say that he's the reason, the spark, Kwame Brown. But there's been some film out there to show otherwise, and we want to kind of just explore that a little bit tonight because not many people are talking about this. You know what I'm saying, Jay?
Yeah, man, because I don't think, and I'm not coming to rescue a Matt Barnes. All right. I'm not coming to Matt Barnes' rescue. I loved Kwame Brown as a player. See, I'm a basketball fan, and my narrative is not based on how others treat an athlete. It's based on my independent desire and understanding of who I want to watch. And Kwame Brown was one of those guys that I wanted to watch. All right. So then we do our own investigation to see what really happened. And when we came up with it was not Becky with the good hair and Steven Jackson that started this. Just like you told me or taught me about the gatekeeper with Michael
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, there's always another element to it. So what do you see when you think about it? Could it have been Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, that started this narrative and others picked it up later on? What do you think?
Well, what I've seen video of Kobe saying some disparaging things, and the Lakers had to tell him to back off. Not only with Kwame Brown, but also with Andrew Bynum. And so I think that's where the seed was planted, and then everybody else just came along and watered that seed because they're gonna follow the lead of Mamba, and it just grew into something.
Facts, facts, facts. And that's the thing, man, that we need to talk about. When it comes to these young kids coming, I want to give a shout out to my cousin Dale Brown and Otis Brown. I love you, family. You want to give a shout out to anybody, D?
I want to give a shout out to my nephew DJ Steffens. He's playing for BC Prometey over in the Ukraine. They're about to go and get another championship. Keep it up, nephew.
Yeah, keep it up, nephew. So when it comes to these kids coming in the NBA, I'm gonna ask a question, man. And I want to hear your opinion before we show the video to prove our point. When Shaq was traveling and Shaq played, he always had a bodyguard or someone around him to support. Like Lonzo Ball has Jermaine Jackson. I mean, LaMelo Ball has Jermaine Jackson, and Lonzo Ball has another guy that's been with their family for a while. Should these players come in the NBA with a mentor or an advisor?
They should, but that's a hard thing because a lot of times these kids are coming from a single parent home and they don't have a mentor that really has their best interest at heart. A lot of those AAU coaches or these coaches that put these kids under their wing, they do so with an understanding that this kid could possibly become something later on. And are their intentions really right for that kid? Are they really going to do what's in their best interest when they do get to that level, or will they allow themselves to be um, compromised by outer forces? So it's kind of hard to
And,
say, finding a trustworthy mentor for these guys.
right, facts, facts. And the thing that I was looking at, D, was this. When I looked at Kwame Brown, right, and
Mhm.
his narrative as a young player, he was actually looking for someone like him. So when you go back and you read the bio of Andrew Bynum, and you look at Andrew, Andrew said they were friends. They laughed,
Yeah.
they had fun. So then I was reading an article today to where Kwame Brown said he taught Andrew Bynum the game of basketball. Because coming
Yep.
from high school, the academy, there were certain things that he lacked. But there are other
Mhm.
people that said, how could Kwame Brown teach Andrew Bynum the game? So you see the disparity here?
Well,
It
I say, well, what I was reading into, what I came up with, Kwame Brown played against Bynum daily, 1-on-1, and he said, "Hey, Marquina, how you doing?" And he said, "If you can guard me, you can guard anybody in the league." And he helped Andrew Bynum to develop his defensive play. So people can argue that if they want to, but those two guys know. And if Andrew Bynum doesn't deny it, then I'm gonna go with what Kwame said.
Right. And I do agree with Marquina just said. She said they have the money to pay for a person. But is that always a good thing to do based on the trust factor?
Anytime
Right.
money is involved, you get questionable actions and questionable motives from people. And so I think the best thing that they could do is have some type of course that these guys can go through so that they have a clear understanding of what options they have and what pitfalls to look for, which to some extent they do have that, but those guys, it's not really mandated. It's not mandatory at all. It's an optional thing, and most guys is not going to take it because they don't have that level of understanding to it.
Right. And what I'm saying is this also. You're 100% right. So I want to say facts on that. But also, do you think that the NBA has a double standard when it comes to athletes? And you got me thinking now, man, is there really a such thing as a gatekeeper? You got me thinking deep, man. Let me hear what you have to say on that, D.
There's absolutely gatekeepers, and there is a double standard in basketball. You see it all the time. You see it with just within the NBA WNBA comparison. Um, there's so many different ways that you can compare it. You have the superstar versus the uh, regular player entitlements. You have all of these different things that these guys get away with, and it needs to be tightened up on, because if not, then it's totally destroying the infrastructure of the game.
Right. So, and that's what, again, I'm going to stand on my own words, and I'm going to say this again. When you watch this, if you come by with Macrina, D-Mac, and Big J says, I don't think Becky with the good hair, Matt Barnes, or Stephen A. Smith is responsible for what happened to Kwame Brown. I'm going to say it again. I don't think Becky with the good hair, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, and Stephen A. Smith are responsible for what happened and the narrative given Kwame Brown. In my opinion, D-Mac, what happened was they picked it up from, God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant. I'm trying to wait till we get some more people on so I can show you the video and we can compare when I say the NBA is selective in who they, like Michael Jordan said, and who they allow to become a part of, as Kwame says, the get along, go along game. So,
Yep.
what do you think about that?
Because Andrew Bynum, when he came in, the only thing that got Bynum the time that it got him was that Kwame was hurt, and the other guy that they had was hurt, and they were going up against Miami. This is when Shaq went to Miami, and Bynum was in the game, and Shaq dunked on Bynum. Then Bynum came back down on the other. Then he did a spin dunk on Shaq, and then he came back down and elbowed Shaq and got up in Shaq's face, and Kobe had to break him up. That's what got Bynum playing time and what kept him in the game.
Yeah, but watch this also. We have to remember that Shaq said on that TNT show, whatever the show is, he said Bynum is a good big man. He said he has a low post game. He said he can go out to the perimeter. He has a great game. Even Bynum made mistakes trying to shoot the three, and Kobe said, I understand him. Kobe never had anything negative to say about Andrew Bynum. But yet Kwame Brown says, I taught Andrew Bynum everything he knows. So watch this. With the Lakers, Andrew Bynum won 2 championships.
Yeah.
and he was dominant. And he averaged about 18 points. Five
Yeah.
to 7 rebounds. So what is the difference? We're going to get into that right now. I want to show you a video for. Go ahead, D. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and run the video because I got something to follow up behind that.
I gotta say, It was tough doing that year. I was playing with guys, God bless them, but Kwame Brown. We had one game right before. Guys, by the way, when I say here, I say directly to them. See what I'm saying? So I don't talk behind people's backs. Things that I say to you, I'm comfortable saying it to them, and I've said this to them. But like the game before we traded for Powell, we were playing Detroit. I had like 40 points. Towards the end of the game, this was Detroit was had a cheap chance. So we had no business being in the game. So now stretching the game, they put a box in one of them. And so I'm surrounded by these players, Detroit players, and Kwame's under the basket all by himself. Literally, like, all by himself. So I'm passing the ball, and bombs it, goes out of bounds. So we go back to the timeout, I'm pissed, right? And he goes, hey, I was wide open. Yeah, I know. This is how I'm talking to him during the game. It's like, nigga, what? He's like, I said, you're going to be open today, Kwame, because my sheets is totally. Well, I'm over there first. I'm like, what? He said, don't throw us. He said, why not? He said, well, I'm nervous. If I catch it and found me, I won't make the free throw. I said, hell no. That's what the first thing he felt, man. Take him out the game, man. He's like, nah, I'm figure it out.
Kobe, what do you think happened
talk about Andrew Bynum.
and taking that
Watch
three?
the difference in the gate.
That something bothers you? Or
what he talks about different players. Why?
I think he was testing the limits of his game.
Which you usually will support.
Ron Artest says that he makes that shot in practice. Do you see that in practice?
I mean, to me, everybody kind of frowned when you shoot a turnaround jumper in the post. But now people aren't frowning anymore because he's making it. It's obviously coach just told us not used to seeing Drew pull up at the top of the key and take a three-pointer. I'm sure Drew won't take many of them. He just tried one tonight.
Powell suggested though that maybe it needs to be addressed because to make sure that everybody on this team is playing as hard as they possibly can be.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to address that though. I mean, it's with patience, with poise, with thoughtfulness, to make sure the team is moving in the right direction and continues to move in the right direction.
Andrew told us he's going to take more of them.
Did we see how he is treating Andrew Bynum indifferent from Kobe Bryant? Did you see that?
Yeah, because, all right, the thing that really got me was this, because there was also a video of Kobe talking about Andrew Bynum, because they said, if they had an opportunity to trade for Jason Kidd, would they trade Andrew Bynum for Jason Kidd? He was like, man, we should have been done that like yesterday. And
Right.
This was before that Miami game. But I think that Kobe saw something. He saw something in Andrew Bynum that he didn't see in Kwame Brown, and that was marketability. Bynum was a little more polished than Kwame Brown was as far as his image, as far as, that goes. And that's what they're really looking at. Yeah, the game was you could say it was at the same level or whatever, but the difference was that Bynum was more marketable. They could let him in the gate.
And this is what I'm talking about. When Andrew Bynum comes in, they win a championship. Automatically now, then watch this. As you said, he comes down, he slams on Shaq. What I like about Bynum and his game presence, he just didn't care. He was a loose cannon. And those are the type of people that corporate America go after. They don't go after passive aggressive. They want individual. Look at Karl Malone. Look at Kevin. Can't think of his name. Used to play for Boston. Look at these cats, man. These cats were not ideal basketball players, but they were great in what they did.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They would definitely. You got guys like Pau Gasol. You got guys like Shaq. Shaq left the Lakers, and they needed a big man to bring a presence at that time. They had a couple of guys, but they weren't bringing the necessary presence. Not what Shaq left. It's hard to try to fill Shaq's shoes when he leaves, that presence. And Andrew Bynum just was in the right place at the right time. And you know, if the Mamba said, "Okay, this is what we're gonna go with," then you're in there. And he was.
And let me say this: we're not disrespecting Kobe Bryant and his legacy at all. What we're trying to show you the disparity between athletes and players in the NBA. I've been saying at each show there are some players who fit the NBA corporate narrative. We have to understand that the NBA is a business. It's just not entertainment. So what the NBA is looking for is individuals who they can market at the same time they make the game entertaining and fun. Andrew Bynum was very controversial. Even after he retired, he never played a game for the 76ers. Then he wouldn't sit with the team. He would go sit in the stands and bleach his hair. So
Yeah,
just to see him, it made people be like, I wonder what he's up to. Go ahead, Big D.
it's that same thing with Tim Tebow. That's why Tebow is back in the league right now, because Tebow is good for business. Tebow generates excitement, and that's what they're going to cash in on real quick. It's not that his skills are so great that he's needed in the league again. No, it's that Urban Meyer know that this move is going to bring some, is going to generate some well-needed revenue in that area.
Facts.
So
Facts.
yeah, everybody is a marketing scheme. You look at everything that these guys are gearing themselves towards, it's their brand, it's marketing. And so when you take that into consideration, I go back to the movie Any Given Sunday. That's what Al Pacino was dealing with. He's trying to coach a old school method, but he has this new age of football coming in, a new age of player that he has to deal with. And that's what the NBA is going through.
Yeah, and I understand it, but I got to keep reiterating this gatekeeper system. We really have to look at it a little bit stronger. So since the Mamba has gone off the scene, Jordan has gone off the scene. It can't be the old heads. So who is it now? And that's the thing which I'm trying to understand. Where is the narrative and how is the narrative being created now? Because gatekeepers don't go away. They exist, but they have to exist now. Who are they?
LeBron James. LeBron James is the gatekeeper right now. He's the face of the NBA. It's been shown time and time again that when LeBron wants something, it gets done and things move around within the NBA. That power only comes from being placed in a certain position and given a certain amount of authority over stuff. Um, that's your gatekeeper right there. He's one of them. I wouldn't say he's the only one, but he's definitely the premier one because he's the face of the NBA.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, Big D, is that you have these players, right? And sometimes we have to look beyond the narrative. Because when I went back, and again, I love Kobe's game. I'm raised in LA, man, Laker fan forever. One of my players that I used to coach in middle school end up playing bottoms, end up playing for the Lakers. Hey, big up, big bottoms. So what am I saying? There was a narrative that had nothing to do with Becky and the good hair, Steven Jackson, Stephen A. Smith, that was created by gatekeepers. Did you hear when Kobe started and he mentioned Kwame Brown's name, the entire room started laughing?
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
That right there is, I think that's along the lines where Shaq messing with JaVale McGee. I put it in the same category as that. It's borderline wrong. I don't want to say bullying. I don't want to put that connotation on it, but it is wrong to do a young player like that. Especially from who you are, coming from the person that you are makes a difference. Maybe it wouldn't have been so bad if it would have been a Matt Barnes back then, or somebody that was of a lesser stature. But because it was coming from Kobe and everybody joined in with it, that just made it 100 times worse.
Yeah, and watch this. Individuals who come on this channel and other channels, the first thing they're going to say, oh, he's talking about Kwame Brown. No, I'm not. If we're going to dictate and give the right narrative, no matter who, what, when, where, why, or how, let's say where it comes from. And when I look at it, you're right. Shaq was a gatekeeper because he said what sinners were not welcome. And guess what? Now these sinners are traveled all over the league. I'm sorry, Kobe was the gatekeeper. So what happened? Now the same thing. When Kobe talks about Andrew Bynum, because Andrew could talk well at one time, you can tell he was a different kid, comes from a different background. We can sell him to the corporate types, as Jordan said, but other people they couldn't sell. So there were individuals who corporate America paid and patted their pockets. Phil Nike with Jordan, with Kobe, and with LeBron. So the economics of basketball go beyond the court. And that's what individuals don't understand. Like, I look at some former players and they just look average, man. I'm looking at, wait a minute, didn't you make so many millions of dollars? What's going on with you? Why do you look like that? Go ahead, Demon. I'm tripping.
Well, going into what's his name? LeBron. LeBron holds a lot of power. I'll go back to Delonte West and that whole situation. Delonte West didn't deteriorate in his game. His game didn't deteriorate none. He was still a good player. He's still a good player now. So what happened to Delonte West that he ends up homeless and now having to be in rehab and all of this stuff? LeBron James happened to him. The system happened to him. The gatekeeper happened to him.
Yeah, you're right, bro.
How dare you do this to the gatekeeper? And he paid a major penalty to it. He's still trying to get his life back together right now because of what he did.
I never believed that narrative of a gatekeeper until I actually watched Michael Jordan with Charles Barkley on Oprah Winfrey Show. And Mike said this. He said, these kids now, watch what he says, and this lets you know. And the first time I saw him say this, he said it on a show where they were talking about, watch this, D, you got to catch it. This is why I love Big J and D-Mac, because we go back beyond the current narrative to find out why this narrative exists. When Jordan was being interviewed by the gentleman from TV, I can't remember his name, he asked him, well, what do you think about the men that killed your father? Jordan got choked up. He said, well, I think kids coming to the NBA, he didn't even go right there, but Jordan went there. Kids coming into the NBA are expecting too much. They don't want to work hard. They don't have the right narrative. In other words, if you're not coming with the identity, which is outside of the negative, quote unquote, ghetto narrative, we don't want you. What happened to Latrell Sprewell? Come on.
Yeah. He wasn't a part of the go along, get along.
Get along gang. Come on.
Go along and get along, then you're
Exactly.
you're not right for this.
Exactly.
There's certain classifications for you to get on a certain level. And like I said before, it's not just in sports, it's in every facet that we deal with. It's in entertainment. You got your gatekeepers there. All the way across the board. So identifying who these gatekeepers are and just knowing this system helps these guys out a lot coming into it.
Yep. And see, then when we look at it again, another video that I watched had to do with Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, and Charles Barkley. And Oprah kind of let him have it. And he said, if you just give me a minute, I'll explain it to you. Michael said, and I quote, corporate America is coming for us. And when they come for us, we have to be right. And some of these young kids are expecting what we earned for them to have the same thing. I'm like, there it is right there. Gatekeepers. Charles Barkley never won a ring, but he's a gatekeeper. Why? Because he gets on TV, Stephen A. Smith, the go along, get along gang, and what they're doing, they have a narrative set up from the top to the bottom who says who will be a star and who won't be a star.
Yeah. Absolutely. And these guys, They've made a great living off of this, but as soon as they start to lose their influence over the people, then that's when they're gonna get put on the shelf and they're gonna looking for the next influencer. That's how it
Facts.
goes with the gatekeepers. And
Facts.
so these guys have an incentive to keep it going. That's why you have Shaq doing so much to stay so in touch and stay so connected so that he can keep his level of influence so that he can remain a valuable asset.
Watch, watch what you just said, D. And most people don't think like this. That's why I love this show. They put all the gatekeepers on TV to create a narrative for the world to accept you or the world to reject you. Who do they put as the commentators? Ex-athletes who were at the top of the game, who corporate America still signed and delivered. Now, those individuals are the gatekeepers to say who will be successful in corporate America. You might make 70 million, Kwame Brown, but corporate America ain't gonna buy into you.
Yeah. And that's why Kwame Brown made such a big viral show, because he attacked the gatekeepers. And most people shy away from attacking the gatekeepers. That's one thing that they don't want to do. They'll talk about anybody else, but they know that there's a penalty that comes with attacking those gatekeepers.
Hey, Uncle Vern, what's going on with you, man?
So, Uncle Vern,
Hey, what's happening? Y'all talking? What's going on, Mr. Mac? Hey, y'all talking about the gatekeepers, huh?
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Go ahead,
Hey,
Uncle Vern. Let us hear you, man.
they something else, ain't they?
Yes, sir.
yeah,
And what we're just doing, Uncle Mac, we're realizing
Oh
when
yeah.
you look at it, it is true because it is a political agenda. Because where they put these individuals at, they put them in positions, man, to where their voices can be heard, and these individuals' narratives are telling the world who to accept and who not to accept. So what if they do? They put Charles Barkley, who never won a ring, but they put him out front to be vocal and have a voice and say that player is crap. That player is no good. In other words, corporate America don't want them. It's like putting people on the block again and selling them. Saying this one you accept, that one you don't. So when you got Andrew Bynum, who was a hothead, who did a lot of dirty play, then you got Kwame Brown, because Kwame Brown, from the southern aspect of who and what we are, don't accept him. He's a bust. He's this and that. I got you now, D. That gatekeeper stuff is real, man. Y'all go ahead.
go ahead, Uncle Vern. You got something to say on that?
Oh no, you right about it. I agree with you 100%. Hey, did you see Kwame Brown show yesterday?
No, I didn't see him today. I got to go check it out.
No.
No,
What did you
I'm
say,
talking about
Uncle Vern?
yesterday when he had Craig Hodges on.
Oh yeah, I saw that,
Did
man.
you see when he had Craig Hodges on there?
Yeah, man, I felt bad for Craig Hodges, man. He just don't look like a shell of himself. I'm
Why?
sorry, huh?
Look at that man. Look like me. He's 63. Hey, he's 63 years old. He's just the same age as I. Me and him went to school together. We all
Oh,
went to
really?
school
How?
together in that neighborhood. We all grew up in the same, almost in the same neighborhood. Hey,
Okay.
the Rod Higgins. You know, Rod Higgins was Michael Jordan's best friend.
Yeah.
Rod Higgins was general manager of the Hornets. Okay,
Yeah.
Wow.
Rod Higgins is Michael Jordan's friend. Me and Rod
Wow.
Higgins, Craig Hodges, and all us we all grew up in the same area.
Wow. Let me ask you a
Rod
question,
Higgins
Uncle
went to
Vern.
the same high school. Go ahead.
Why does MJ is how old is Michael Jordan? Anybody?
Michael Jordan is 50. He probably about 50. He probably about what? About 50, almost 60 now. Almost 60.
Okay. How old is
He
Craig
ain't too much.
Hodges?
He ain't too much younger than I am. I'm 63. So
Okay. So
Craig
so let me
Hodges is 60. Craig Hodges should be about 62 years old.
okay. So what is the difference when you look at both of these former players? When I see MJ, who looks like he can still get out there and ball, when I look at Hodges and the other people who the NBA exploited, they don't look like they're doing as good economically. I don't mean physically. They might have money, pensions, but they don't look like they're as what's the word I can use, D Mac? You know what I'm saying?
As wealthy.
Um,
They don't look as wealthy. They don't look as spiffy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Why is that, Uncle Vern?
It's because of this. Craig Hodges is living a grown man life, living like, well, I wouldn't say a millionaire's life, he's living a grown man's life. I say the same thing about Kwame Brown. He don't live that kind of spiffy life. It don't look like he got millions in the bank. It don't look like Craig Hodges got millions in the bank. You see Michael Jordan just walking down the street. Your first mindset is that's a millionaire. You understand me? And he can have regs on, but you recognize him as being such. You don't recognize Kobe Brown as being like that. You don't recognize a whole lot of others unless you know who they are and if they still doing or what they doing. It's like Dr. J. Dr. J can walk in the room and a whole lot of kids wouldn't even know who he is.
Yeah. True.
But
And,
the
and, and,
adults in there, they know who he is. They know exactly who he is. They'll say, "Who
and
you play for? Who you play for? Who you play for?"
yeah,
That's how people is right now today. They still got that same kind of way. It was just like I was just telling you about Craig Hodges. I don't think you never knew nothing about Craig Hodges. You don't even
yes,
really
I do,
remember Craig
sir.
Hodges when Kobe
Yes, I
Brown
do, sir.
was telling you Craig Hodges when Craig Hodges was doing all these things.
Yes, Craig
You
Hodges was a
understand
great
me?
player, man.
Just a matter, it's a matter of opinion, bro. That's all.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
familiar with him,
And
Uncle Vern.
and then I look at it like I look at it like this. I look at it like this too, because I'm gonna look at it like this. And I'm gonna tell you too. I look at it like Kobe disrespected that man sitting up in there when he was doing that. I think he took that Stephen A. thing. I think he took that NBA relic thing. You know what I'm saying? Just getting that man no respect. I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people's had a game, a good basketball game, but they ain't got enough sense like that. But that man stuck around, made 60 some odd $1 million. You don't see too many dummies running around making those 60 some odd $1 million. I can see
Yeah,
them getting you the first time, but these guys several contracts.
but Uncle Vern, we have to
So
come into the
his
understand, Uncle
game,
Vern.
his
Uncle
go ahead.
Vern, we have to look at something. There's two forms of NBA money.
Yeah,
There's two forms of NBA money. Let's be real. $70 million for a player is no money
right,
when it's not tied to corporate dollars. There's two corporate dollars came in behind Michael Jordan, which was way before Kwame Brown. So then, if that's the case, then Kwame Brown didn't make the money that was afforded to him, or he should have had or made. So then, this is why I'm saying the gatekeepers. You got Charles Barkley sitting up. His game has been over. Never won a championship, but the gatekeepers say, "Come on, Charles, we're gonna give you a show. Come and sit on this show, and you tell us who should be a part and who should not be a part. You come tell America who we're gonna sign and who we're not gonna sign." This is why LaMelo Ball did some amazing things before he got into the NBA. Signed $100 million with Puma. You understand? Then he made some other
right,
big deals. So what I'm saying is this: there are some NBA players who will be NBA players. That's all there will ever be. Yes, they can buy property, they can do certain things, but then there are other NBA players who now are the gatekeepers for the NBA and who are corporate types. And what those individuals do now, they get media positions to where they go on television, either break other people or make other people. Even they do it in interviews. That's what Kobe Bryant did to Kwame Brown in that first interview that we showed tonight. In the second interview, because Andrew Bynum made them corporate money by winning championships, they were all for him. Go ahead, D.
So that brings to me is, man, when Kobe said that, where was the OGs to be like, hey man, pull him to the side? Did he talk to Kwame after that? You know what I'm saying? Did they have a conversation after that? Because I'm pretty sure Kwame saw it. And what effect did that have on this kid? See, and that goes back to not having guys around to really to help these kids out. Because like I said, once you get put in that role of gatekeeper, um everybody else is in a whole different league from you.
Yeah, because it's like they're the boss.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
go
look at
ahead.
it like just like in entertainment, you have certain superstar rappers, and you have certain rappers that's just at a certain level. and there's certain things that you're going to have to do to maintain that level of superstardom. And there's some things that people are not willing to do to have that certain level of superstardom. And that's the same thing in basketball. So when you have a gatekeeper that's picking on a regular guy, that's going to send shockwaves through that whole kid's world, because a lot more people are paying attention to what Kobe is saying.
Right, because here's the reality. I'm gonna get you, Uncle Vern. Don't lose your thought. Here's the reality. If Kobe Bryant said something at that time, because if he is a phenom, the whole world is listening to him. China, Japan, Africa, everybody. All right, he's a gatekeeper. So so what he was really doing was removing Kwame Brown from being a possible corporate type. Andrew Bynum started doing endorsements right away. Why? Championship. He could be a face because of what he did for Shaq. That's why Shaq said Andrew Bynum is the best big man in basketball, because he fit the corporate type. I'm sorry, Kwame Brown does not fit the corporate type. You can put a notebook in his hand, you can sit him at a computer. He does not fit the corporate type. Whereas Kobe and the rest of his constituents said no. So watch this. What does Kobe do? I can understand when Kobe said, you know what, man, I was pissed off. I had a hell of a game, and I came back and out to the sideline, and I was pissed off. And Kwame gonna ask me or tell me, man, don't throw me the ball. And then he said, Kobe said, well, you was wide open. He told me, Kobe, I'm wide open, I know. He said, I'm gonna throw you the ball next time. He said, don't throw the ball to me because I was embarrassed. And why are you embarrassed, Kwame? Because then if I get fouled, I got to shoot free throws. That's personal, man. You don't tell that man's business to the world like that. That is a kid. That is a form or a type of bullying. Then before white folks, you call him a nigga? In their presence? Go ahead, Uncle Vern.
That goes right back to, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. That goes right
Yes.
back to what I said before, bro. Look here, dude on TV. He played 11 years, man, 60-something odd $1 million. If you want to call that a bus, that's the richest bus I've ever seen in my life. And the longest bus ride I've ever seen in my life, too. So I don't know what to tell you about the NBA. But this goes right back to what I was saying before about the gatekeepers. Remember, I don't know, you said you saw what Craig Hodges was talking to him about yesterday. So if you did, you'll know that story about how he had talked during '92 when they beat down Rodney King that year. And during that time, when Wolves was going to win the championship, Craig Hodges had talked to Magic and he had talked to Jordan about, boycotting, demonstrating, like they was doing last year about that racial thing. You understand me? And then the gatekeepers said, no, we ain't finna go that route because we ain't finna mess up our understanding, our big old this, our big old that. So that go right back to what you was saying about Kobe, because Kobe then was at that time, and it might be still now, one of the biggest gatekeepers in the NBA, because he was going along with the program. He wasn't making waves, especially after that rape incident.
Right. See, and that's the thing,
so
man.
all that NBA money, all that NBA talk, all that talks and goes into the same flavor. All of it goes into the same flavor. Like you said, how come the ones that ain't playing in the NBA? It's a whole lot of them that look like Kwame Brown, like Craig Hodges. They don't look like millionaires no more. There's a whole lot of them look like that. But then it's a whole lot of them that don't look like millionaires, and they got millions and millions. So you got to be careful about the book you got to read by the cover. Thank you.
And that's the key, Uncle Vern. Somebody was asking me, Big J, you and D-Mac, or telling me you and D-Mac spit some good information on y'all show. Why it ain't a lot of people on there following y'all like everybody else? Who wants to hear the truth? Who wants their hero to be broken down? Who wants to hear someone who followed Kobe Bryant and hear what we're saying? We're not talking about him. We're talking about a corporate infrastructure that exists. And the way you change the narrative of America, you put the house, I'm sorry, you put him on TV and you let it be known through him, because you can't say it. These are the selections that you make, and these are the selections that you want. Everybody else, throw them to the side. Go ahead, Big D.
Yeah, I was just writing down having gatekeepers is a must in a classist society. Whenever you're dealing with classism and capitalism, you're going to have gatekeepers to keep the people in order. Certain people got to stay on this lower level, and certain people going to make it here. You got to have that in the type of system that is built in America. So,
Facts. Facts.
so anybody who debates the fact that there are gatekeepers and there are people who says who comes in and who doesn't, then we don't really have much to talk about, because that's something that's been shown every day. It's shown all the time if that's what you're looking for. But if you're not looking for it, then you're not gonna see it.
And here's the thing, all
Yeah.
this is nothing new, because we talked about emasculation. This is nothing new. And I'm going to tell the truth, and we're going to tell the truth, whether we have 100,000 people or one person. We're going to tell the truth. And the truth is, this narrative is old, because Boss now cannot get on television and say what he wants to say about us because of slander and lawsuits. Now he hired gatekeepers. There were not gatekeepers in the NBA back in the day. Everybody, bless you, God bless you, Uncle Vern. Everybody back in the day, man, were on an equal level. But now what you have done, you have caused players to do what you did during a period of time in life. Now they are judging each other, fighting each other, have issues with each other. Why? Because the narrative at the top was not created by the brother who sits on TV. He's given a script what to say about certain players and what to do to break them down and to tear their narrative down. Again, I like Kwame Brown as a player. I used to turn in games even when he was traded. Why? Because to me, I just love skilled big men. Yep. Go ahead, Uncle Vern. Go ahead, Uncle Vern.
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, I like this game too. I like this game too. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Yeah, I like this game too. I like this game because of the fact he came out of high school like that, man. Came out of high school and got paid. Like I said, a lot of people, man, it's funny, man. Like with the NBA and with basketball players, a lot of times you have it all downstairs, but you ain't really got the whole game upstairs. It'll take a lot of times. It'll just take you a minute. But you don't want to get in the NBA and get into the NBA with all that talent and just say, fuck it. I'm just going to get paid, forget everything else. I'm going to go along the waves. And you know what I'm saying? A lot of times, if you take that attitude, you wind up sitting on the bench and out the league sooner or later, your feelings hurt. Usually, if you get to that position, you want to take fully advantage of it. You understand me?
Facts.
That's what's funny about the NBA. A lot of them don't make it.
But after a while, they said that Andrew Bynum said he didn't really take basketball serious. He could have put more into it and been a true dominant big man, but they said that he really didn't, have that mentality of wanting to become that. He had this mentality of, hey, I'm getting ready to get this big payday. I'm gonna seize this moment because who knows, and they was like, that's the mentality that he carried. That's what his coaches was saying. Who knows if that was a narrative that was given to them to devalue him after he started getting hurt. But that's what they started saying. But that was around the time when he got traded to, I believe it was Cleveland.
When I used to be an insurance salesman.
Yeah. Hey, Mac,
What's that, Uncle Vern?
Go ahead. No, you know one thing, I think Bynum, Andrew Bynum as being a bust too. If it wasn't for the fact he played with the Lakers, his career really wouldn't have been all that. You know what I'm saying?
No, Uncle Vern, there were teams who wanted there were teams who wanted Andrew Bynum before the Lakers drafted him number 10. Watch this. He goes in the first round, but he's drafted number 10. Watch this. Andrew Bynum was a force, man. He was a force, but he was also a loose cannon. He got 2 championships with the NBA. And again, that goes back to what the gatekeepers want. They want individuals. And what they wanted him was, after the game of basketball, to be a commentator. Yes, he got 2 championships with the Lakers.
Yeah, and then, but what did it for Bynum was when they brought in Kareem.
He got He got 2 championships with the Lakers, but he got 2 championships. He got 2 championships playing behind Paul Gasol, though. Huh? Hold on.
Yeah, but he was effective. D, go
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead, babe. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Big D.
Be careful.
Yeah, he was definitely effective because
Yeah,
during that
but
time with Pau Gasol was good at certain things, but same as today, he wasn't good on that pick and roll, and so there were certain things that they would use Gasol
right.
for. There were certain things that they would use Bynum for, and yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of tricky right there.
But when they played
Okay.
together,
All right.
they
So,
were
like I
forced.
said before, if anything, I look at I don't look at Andrew Bynum as being all that because I really don't look at Paul Gasol as being all that, and he played second fiddle to a person that don't look at as being all that. So really, both of them was just 2 good pieces. That's all. He was just a good piece. Kobe Brown was
Yeah.
really Kobe. What Kwame Brown really wasn't no good piece because the places he went to didn't fit in, and the game didn't fit in because he didn't have it all upstairs. But I'll say the same thing about Andrew Bynum. With all that talent, he didn't have it all upstairs neither.
But
Yeah,
but
well, they're
it,
trying to
but go
build.
ahead.
He really wasn't no he really wasn't no all that player like you just said. He really wasn't all that in my eyes. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm
I
saying.
mean,
He wasn't
but
all
coming
that.
in after Shaq, trying to fill Shaq's
To me, he was a
shoes,
disappointment.
they had so many big men in coming in trying to fill Shaq's shoes. Like I was saying earlier, that's some big shoes to fill. That's size 22 shoe to fill right there. And so to have a
Right.
Gasol and to have a Kwame Brown and to have a Bynum, all of them three combined right there still could not fill the shoes of the Shaquille O'Neal. And so there was a lot of pressure on those guys to try to
Right.
fill those shoes that Shaq left. And Bynum was the only one that came close. So they stuck with the closest one.
Let me prove my point, gentlemen. Let me prove my point. LaMelo Ball, drafted number 3 in the NBA draft, 2020 draft. LaMelo Ball comes out of Australia. LaMelo Ball lit it up over there. LaMelo Ball went to Ohio, Spire Institute, and lit it up. But the problem was, and still will always be, why Charlotte did what they did with him. They did not want him to be a superstar, and the gatekeepers tried to shut him out because of his father's. If you say there's no such thing as there are no gatekeepers, shame on you. That is the closest and the most recent narrative to these individuals until he proved them wrong, trying to shut a player out. They talked about his shot being broken like his brother. They talked about his father. Anything negative, even Jordan at one time, until watch what Jordan say. He's proving all of us wrong. Who's all of us? It's not the coaches, it's the gatekeepers. Because guess
Jermaine
what?
Jackson ain't there for no reason. Jermaine Jackson is there to keep those gatekeepers off of him because LeVar know about these gatekeepers. And he know that these guys are going to try to
Yeah.
manipulate his sons. That's why he's got these guys. That's another part of the reason why he got those guys there is to keep these gatekeepers and keep him informed of the gatekeepers that's swarming around his son.
And that's the go along, get along game. That's corporate America.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah. I
African
agree.
Americans. It's corporate America. It's the individuals who write the dollars that comes down through corporation that goes back with the TV deals to the NBA. It's all those individuals who control the narrative. Man, they want to see the best thing that they can get on the floor. That's competitive, whether you get hurt or not. They got people in other countries, man, who love the NBA, who love basketball. So it's more than just brothers dribbling the ball. It's very deep. Look at Michael Jordan's assets now. It's triple that of basketball. Jordan was never paid what he was worth from the NBA. Where did his money come from? The gatekeeper system. The go along, get along game. That's where the money came from. That's where Jordan got paid from. And guess what they made sure? That it happened. Now when you see all these cats on TV, when you see Shaq on TV, when you see Barkley on TV, Kenny Smith, all these guys are gatekeepers. Why? Because they control the narrative that society hears and go along with. Go ahead.
Yeah, as long as they have the
You
ability to
know,
be
I
effective in
don't
this
know, I don't
game.
know.
We
Go ahead, Uncle
we
Vernon.
can't
Oh
have,
yeah, I can't help but agree with you on that, bro, about the gatekeepers. I can't help but agree with you.
because it's just like
So
that. It's like that with
But
anything.
like I said,
If
the
you go
narrative
to a
don't
draft,
change out there. I think out there in Charlotte, though.
you said what? What was that about Charlotte?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think the narrative gonna change out there in Charlotte though with Michael Jordan, because I think Michael Jordan begins to see the favor. I think he begins to say, "Look here, I ain't for the fight against this LeBron thing or go along with this fight against Melo thing. I think I'm bringing his brother up in there. I think they're gonna make a decision thing. You know what I'm saying? I think they're gonna make what's that thing? Decision to bring Lonzo up over the Charlotte, man. I really
now
do. I
Melo. I'm
think they're
sorry,
gonna
Uncle
make that
Vern.
decision. I see
I'm
that getting
sorry.
played back because
Lamelo LaMelo created his own narrative to where he doesn't need corporate America. He had corporate America before he came to the NBA. That proves what we're saying is right. He was accepted by the masses. He didn't need corporate
already know.
America because the masses are greater than corporate America. You understand? The masses is
Oh,
where corporate America get the independent dollars from. But LaMelo already had a international following. He already had all these things. So what they're trying to do was stop him and break him because they know they wouldn't be able to control he or his father. So when it comes to the gatekeepers, it's about complete control. That's why Michael Jordan told Mitch Kupchak and Borrego, don't give this kid anything. Make him earn it. Because they've already given him everything. And because they've already given him everything, we won't be able to control him. But he reversed the narrative and did a 42 fake on all of them. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, that's what Jordan has against LaMelo. I feel that he resents the fact that LaMelo came into the NBA with as much leverage that he had, because Mike didn't have that leverage. No other players came in with the type of leverage that LaMelo Ball has coming into the NBA. And that puts a hold onto a lot of money making schemes, a lot of marketing schemes. That puts a hold to a whole lot of it because they can't use him like that.
And that's the thing. Do you know what? Do you know what what LeVar Ball was doing? LeVar Ball was
okay.
doing this. LeVar Ball was doing this. LeVar Ball at 16 bought LaMelo a car, a Ferrari. Corporate America, we don't need you. Gatekeepers, we don't need you. In his NBA 2020 draft, he bought him a $350,000 Rolls Royce. We don't need you. When LaMelo first got signed to Charlotte, he went and bought Cam Newton's $10 million condo, saying, we don't need you. Then watch how LaMelo got him. LaMelo said, I don't spend my NBA money. So what that
Yeah.
did right there was just close all the gatekeepers, the go along, get along game. That's what Kwame got to understand. It wasn't personal. It wasn't basketball. You didn't fit the narrative of corporate America, who controls in the NBA with them same mafia dollars as everybody else. Y'all better get this and go back to see when this thing happened.
Yeah. Let's see what's happening, Adam. How you doing? Adam says, what's up, brothers? Hope y'all are
Hey,
having a
hey,
good
hey, hey, hey,
Friday.
Jeff.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Say what's up, brothers. Hope y'all are having a good Friday. God bless you. Do you think Rob
Yeah.
Pelinka
But
should
yeah.
try to part ways with LeBron? If Lakers do that, they can land a superstar like Damian Lillard.
Adam love him some Damian Lillard, man. He love him some Damian Lillard. I like
No,
that too, Adam. You a big man.
Yeah, Damian Lillard going to the
no, that
Los
ain't gonna happen.
Angeles. I don't see that.
That
I
won't.
don't
That
see
won't. That
Damian
won't happen,
going.
bro.
No, no, he's got an organization.
No.
He can build. They can build around Dame and give him what he needs. He's still young. He ain't got a bunch of injury
Hey,
plagues. So I think Dame will let them build around him.
Adam, I just sent you something, man. Check your
hey,
narrative
hey,
there.
hey, hey, Jay. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Melo played well enough, man, to do two things. To show that he's the future out there in Charlotte, right? The media future. And I think he played well enough to and the team played well enough to show where they weak at and where they need help at. And I think Melo gonna let them know that I'm here. Lonzo will be able to help me. And like you said, that old media thing and that old, that stage, them gatekeeper things come into play because they don't want Laval going up in their business. But I think
Yes.
that gonna be put aside because I think they're gonna try to make Melo listen. I think they're gonna try to make Melo happy because you said this one thing that Melo had made mention of about keeping on to his old money. You know what I'm saying? But there's another thing he
And
said also. He said land is cheap out there in North Carolina. You understand me? So that sends off another message to the gatekeeper. Look here, keep me right and mine right, then I'll be back thinking about staying around for a while. So take that into consideration too, Jay, because all that
yeah,
come into play. And like you said, that's all money.
you're right. Laissez faire. You're right.
Yeah,
But watch what's gonna happen, Uncle Vern. This is what's gonna happen.
yeah.
LaMelo Ball, his team, his dad, his brother, his
I hear you.
mother, D and I were talking about this. They're shifting the entire narrative of the NBA, and it's not about basketball. They're shifting it because they don't need laissez-faire. They're creating general wealth within their own generational wealth within their own family. And that's what the media or nobody wanted. LeVar Ball were going to give other individuals the
I know that. I
opportunity
understand
to
that.
be great and to be good. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. They're using basketball as a stepping stone to build other wealth, other long-term wealth, because these guys' careers will last up to what maybe if they're lucky, they'll get a good 15 seasons. But they still have their brother Leangelo, and I know that LeVar wants to get him into something
Hey, 20,
just for
20,
so
20 seasons.
20 seasons.
They're gonna be 20 seasons.
You think they'll get
He's still
20
only
seasons in?
18.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah,
Hey,
that's
why
good.
not?
Yeah, if they stay healthy, I don't see it not happening. But if you get that many seasons under your belt, then
Yeah.
you can definitely make some things happen. So these ball brothers, if they really want to be together in the league, they gonna find a team and a coach and a manager or an owner somewhere that will entertain the idea, and they'll make that move happen. And Levar is he's sitting back there. Don't think that he's just sitting there not doing something. He got the wheels in motion, and he's constantly talking to all of his boys. And there's something that's gonna come down the pipeline with this Ball family, and that's why everybody's still paying attention to what's going on with him. Because
Watch,
when LeVar gets quiet, something gonna happen.
Yeah.
watch this, D. A 19-year-old came into the NBA
Yeah.
with his boisterous dad, and they broke the mold and the model of the go along, get along gang. Kwame Brown. It had nothing to do with Becky with the good hair. It had nothing to do with Stephen A. Jackson. It all had to do with those gatekeepers that you played with in the past. I just showed a video that Kobe mentioned his name, and the whole room, which was full of corporate gatekeepers, started laughing. Again, blackface, the butt end of the joke. So Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson and Stephen A. Smith, they just jumped on the narrative because it was left to them by who? The
Well, see,
gatekeeper.
they can only do what they authorized to do.
Kobe
You
Bryant.
know, Stephen A. Smith can't get on there and say nothing that the big wigs don't tell him that he can say, and that's one thing that Kwame Brown's used against him. That's something that he seized on. He's like, you can't say what you want to say. I can't. because we know that as a truth. And so when Stephen A. and Matt Barnes and them guys get on there and they have to be politically correct, they're proving Kwame's point. That yeah, there's these guys who are telling you what you can and can't say. So don't get on here to talk about all the smoke. How can you have all the smoke when you can't even say what you want to say? So you know,
Yep.
he pulled their card. He exposed them for what they were. That's why they so upset.
But if he wants to go after the real ones, you got to go back to the past, Doc. Forget Kwame. I mean, forget Barnes and Jackson. You got to go all the way back to MJ, the guy who brung you in because he thought you would be a part of the go along, get along gang. He just didn't know you had too much of mama's cooking in you from a southern perspective, whereby you would not fit the go along, get along gang. Andrew Bynum fit that narrative, but he broke it when he wouldn't do what they said. See, watch this. There's a comedian by the name of Dave Chappelle. They want to give Dave Chappelle $50 million to be a part of the go along, get along gang. Keep talking about your own people on this thing. Keep denigrating your people. Then we want you to put a dress on. Then we want you to do this. Dave Chappelle said, I'm out of here. I'm going to Africa. I ain't doing this no more. You understand?
Okay.
Richard Pryor got burned up because he got tired of it. Go ahead, D.
See, the gatekeeper's gonna keep you in your place. And so if you feel like you want to grow and you want to try to expand and go up, you can unless that gatekeeper says so. And so that's going to cause you a certain level of mental anguish. You know, if I know that I have all the resources, I have everything that this guy has as far as qualifications and requirements, but I can't get this because I'm not in the group. Man, that right there drives a person crazy. And a lot of these guys can't get out and talk about that stuff. And the ones that do, they really get brought down. You know, like a Marshawn Lynch. They couldn't control a Marshawn Lynch. They couldn't make a Marshawn Lynch portrait because Marshawn, he got too much of the hood in him. And Marshawn ain't going for all of that bootlicking and politics. And so once they figured that out, what was it? We gotta find somebody that's more marketable, you know, and it goes across all spectrums. These gatekeepers are going to keep people at a certain level, no matter how good you are. It doesn't have anything to do with your talent. It doesn't have anything to do with none of it. It has to do with your marketability and your willingness to push the agenda and to keep the people at bay whenever they doing some stuff that we don't like.
Yep. See, legally, I can no longer break your back. Legally, I can no longer talk about you in the
Yeah, I know
open.
I saw you, baby.
Legally, I can no longer call you names. Legally, I can't do anything anymore that I used do to you.
Huh?
But what I can do, I can get this gentleman
Oh,
right here
okay.
to
You
do what I
finished?
can. All right. So
All
hold
right.
on 1 second, D. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these individuals that I can get to do it for me. See, because you can't do it, and that's the key, and that's what we have to understand, and that's what people are not getting, man. That's what we're trying to bring on the show. Watch this. If I can't get, and I can no longer do it to you, let me take this off here because I want this to be seen. If I can no longer do it to you, I'm gonna bring somebody in. And who am I going to bring in? I'm going to bring in this fella right here, the fella on the screen. All right? And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to make sure, you understand, that I control, that he controls you. See, I can't do it anymore. I can't talk about you anymore. I can't say, well, that we shouldn't give kids something until they earn it, until they achieve it. That's a gatekeeper. Someone who does not allow you to go further than you can go or should be. That's a trip, Doc.
The downfall of Bill Cosby was one of the gatekeepers being chastised in front of the rest of the gatekeepers, being made an example that
Yes.
if you get out of line as a gatekeeper, this is what we are going to do to you. I believe when Kobe got in that thing in Colorado with that young lady, that was a warning from the gatekeepers. If you
Yes.
do not get in line, we definitely can take you out of here. because that is one of their known methods of taking them
You
out.
getting
Is
too deep, D. You
all of
getting too
those,
deep, D. You
yeah,
getting too
to
deep.
get all of those sexual assault charges. That's their main weapon to throw on you and to keep you in line or to either take you out. So we have to look at these things. It's more into it than what we see on the surface.
Exactly. That's why a Damian Lillard has not gotten what he deserves. Now you saw Devin Booker get hugged by LeBron James, and LeBron signed his jersey. That was a signal or a sign to say he's accepted. Y'all better get this stuff. You got to, folk are not understanding we're still in bondage. And the only way, watch what, there's someone who controls all our narratives because legally it can't be controlled that way anymore. So there are gatekeepers to help control you, to keep you where you need to be until you prove that you're worthy of corporate dollars. Then we'll accept you in.
Yeah, they have a script. They have a script that they go by, and you can tell it if you go back and you compare the different superstars speech whenever they're talking about a new player that's coming in. Just for instance, LaMelo Ball. The different responses that you were getting from players concerning LaMelo Ball coming in, you can tell which ones were the gatekeepers and which ones were just the fellow ball players, because the professional players, they have games that all of the star players and the incoming upcoming star players play in these private games. And so from that aspect, they know, hey, this kid got game. That's why KD was so such of a high sell on LaMelo Ball, because in these private games that they play, he appreciated LaMelo's game because he underestimated it because of all the overseas stuff and this and that. And so
Facts.
KD became a believer after those games. But you look at the corporate players like the Steph Currys and the LeBrons, their reaction to LaMelo Ball was more controlled, and it was more scripted as to what they said about him. And
Facts.
that's just, that's coded talk to be like, well, he's a good player, but we don't know if he's marketable
Yep.
yet.
Yep.
And
And
you
that's
have
the
to
key.
read between, yeah, you have to read into what they're saying and how they word the stuff that they're saying. And yeah, it's deep,
When
brother.
LeBron James gave Devin Booker that jersey, and when LeBron James signed that jersey for Devin Booker and showed it to the world, that was a message, people. That
Yes.
was a message to say, now what? Now watch what's going to happen. Devin Booker's stock just went up just like this. Now he will go beyond NBA dollars and go into corporate dollars, which he won't need to use his NBA dollars, which will change his entire narrative.
And right as soon as that happened, this morning I saw the post where Stephen A is calling Devin Booker a superstar.
See what I'm saying? You see how it
He just
works?
said he just said that LeBron is no longer a superstar. He said LeBron is an all-star, but now he's lifting Devin Booker up to
You
the
got
place
it.
of superstar after one game like
You
that.
got it.
Really?
And
Wow.
Latrina,
Martinez says you would use your own people to help you with the narrative. Yeah, yeah. That's what they're there for. That's where they get paid the big dollars, because they do not care about using their people. And that's their job, is to use us and to keep us on a certain level, and to whenever we get in an uproar, to ease us back down. You look at Steve Harvey said something that was so close to what Michael Jordan said that let me know that Steve Harvey was a gatekeeper as well. When
yep.
he was talking to Monique, and they were talking about the problem that Monique had with Netflix and all of that. And Steve Harvey, uh, I can't say what he said verbatim, but I'm going to paraphrase. He basically said it comes down to the money. When it's all said and done, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, but I'm not going to give up all of this money. I'm going to compromise to keep my pockets lined. And that's basically what Steve Harvey said to that woman in front of the whole entire world. Now, people who was really listening to what he said, that's a gatekeeper message.
Yep.
You,
Yes, yes, yes. And Marquina, you're right, because Kobe was not only teaching Devin Booker, he was also teaching a boy from Boston. What's his name, D-Mac?
From
I can't
Boston.
think of, yeah, the Boston Celtics guy Kobe was working with. The forward. I can't think of his name. He's big time. He's about 23, 24. In other words, Kobe used to work with him too. They were modeling players to take their position as gatekeepers. This is not something we're making up. This is a reality, and it's been happening because young people are not focused on it because they can make millions of dollars now with social media. They know nothing about it. But I'm sorry, I have to say this. If you go back to slavery, there was the house and the field. I don't want to say the words. All right, those in the house had to earn their way into that position. If you worked in the field, you were not allowed in the house. You were not even allowed past the gate. And if you watch this, past the gate. If you needed something, the house, which was inside, could come out past the gate and give it to you and make sure you're all right. Man, this ain't changed.
Yeah. Why you think Shaq is so big on Embiid? Embiid is not the best big man. Really and truly, Embiid is not the best big man.
Right.
Shaq had to get home. Why did Shaq take his personal time out to chastise Embiid on live TV, saying that he needed to become more aggressive, like he's his mentor or something like that? Because Embiid he's marketable and he can be influenced to push these agendas.
Yes.
You can't do that with a Doncic or a Jokic.
Yes.
Because you're not going to be able to control these guys because they are of that other persuasion. And so
it's called the selective process. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And Shaq is trying to find that next gatekeeper. And he's got his eye on Embiid.
Yeah, we're gonna get off here to get D because we were trying to keep it to an hour. So, but I'm gonna say this last thing, and then I'll give you the floor, D. Is this? We got to understand when Shaq was coming into the NBA, they got Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and they got a lot of the centers who are a part of the gatekeepers around Shaq to develop him. Then when Dwight Howard and others come in the league, they didn't put anyone around him. So Dwight Howard became a kid and became Superman again. Why? Because he was not being shaped to be a great NBA center. Do you got it? The gatekeepers have certain people. Devin Booker, Kobe worked with him. The young man that plays for Boston, Kobe worked with him. There's certain people who fit that image. And on my way out leaving tonight, we want to say thank you for being on. Kwame Brown did not fit that image. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, Kwame didn't fit that image. These gatekeepers keep a lookout, especially with the rookie class that's coming in, because they're judging them guys right now. You know, they're seeing who's going to be marketable, who's going to be able to fill that position when those guys are no longer able to do it, because gatekeeper has to find somebody to fill his position whenever it's time for him to leave out. So, yeah, I'm glad we talked about this, and I hope more people pay attention.
We're going to follow up on it, and we thank Macrina for all she does for the page and comes in her support. She's just amazing, and we really appreciate her. Thank you so much, Macrina. And we're going to come back and revisit this narrative possibly Friday. Invite some people. Let it be known that we're going to talk about this again. All right? Everyone who are on, thank you so much. D-Mac, always big man. You the man. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't do this show without you, brother.
I'm trying to be like you when I grow up.
I couldn't do this show by myself if I want to. But you know what? God bless everyone. Peace out. Until next time.